to the Father Knowts podcast, and I am your host, Warren W. Patten Jr., or you can call me Father Patten. Father Knowts is an informational style podcast created to give fathers a voice in their family structure. I encourage fathers to take back fatherhood and shake the trees of tradition to create a stronger family unit. We'll also delve into men's health, leadership, mentorship, and so much more. Okay, men, it's time to be a better father on purpose. Hello, fathers. Welcome back to the Father Knowts podcast. Oh, yes, I have a good one for you. You know, I come up with some very good ideas. My creativity is my strong suit. Okay, anyway. Hey, but first of all, remember, this is episode number 5, season 2. And the title of this episode is A Father's Protection. A Father's Protection. But before we get into the details about that, I got a few PSA I need to do for you. Some PSAs, public service announcements. First of all, Father Knowts the book. Let me pull that up for you. The book Father Knowts, Being a Better Father on Purpose, is only available on my website. That's right, WarrenWPattenJr.com. That's PATTEN.com. WarrenWPattenJr.com. So definitely I want you to get that copy if you can, but you can only get it from me. You can only get it from me. I have pulled it from the publishers, and I have the only copy because I have some things in mind for that book. Also, the next thing you need to know about that book, it is the inspiration for this podcast. So I got a lot of people at every book event I've gone to, and I tell them about the Father Knowts, Being a Better Father on Purpose. And they say, hey, have you thought about doing a podcast? And I said, early on, I said, no. But after a while, it started getting traction. And, you know, fatherhood needs to be talked about. We talk about motherhood all the time. We don't talk much about fatherhood. What's up with that? Well, it's changing now because I'm talking about fatherhood all the time. That's right. That's right. Now, also on this podcast, from time to time, I will offer Father Knowts, the Leadership Edition. That's right. I'm going to have some videos about leadership, and it's going to be tied into my concept called emotional evolution. Yes, I am the innovator of emotional evolution because I think it's a step up from emotional intelligence. More about that a little bit later. Now, back to Father Knowts, the podcast. You know my slogan, fathers, take back fatherhood and shake the trees of tradition. That's right. Now let's get into this episode because I got some great things for you for sure. And it's all about a father's protection. A father's protection. And that's their role in the family unit. But I broke it down a little bit. And I know sometimes when fathers are doing their thing every day, they think that the family is observing and paying attention to everything that they do. And they say, oh, that's protection. My father's protecting me. No, 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 no. They're too young to understand why you do what you do. So as a father, I believe you have to do those things, be the example of protection, but you also have to explain why you're doing what you're doing. So let me break it down for you like this. I have a few things I want to show you. You show what safety looks like in the home. Show what safety looks like in the home. You got to have checkpoints. You have to make sure all of the doors, windows are secure, and your sons need to know, or your family, not just your sons. You know, I'm focused on sons because I have 5, but your family, girls and boys, need to know exactly why you're locking the doors. Why are you securing them every day? Not at night, all day long. We live in a different world. And you got to be extra careful. You have to put some precautions in place so that you can protect your family. That brings in safety. That makes them feel safe. I also, since I have an upstairs and downstairs, I bought some roll-out stairs for the window. In case the house catches on fire, they knew exactly where the roll-out stairs. They was like rope, but you can hook them on to the window upstairs and they can get out that way. They knew exactly where they were, and you have to remind them. Sometimes they'll stumble up, Daddy, what are these stairs doing here? In case there's a fire, that's a way to get out. You have to prepare them for things like that. Another thing about safety at home. There should be times where when your sons get a little bit older and they want to go places, they want to go visit friends. Well, they have to be in at a certain time. And you got to make sure that they understand that time means safety. I need you here so we can account for you. And the evil out there won't be trying to chase you down, because it will. It will. So have those checkpoints about what time to come home, when to check in if they're at an event at night and they can't come home at a certain time. They should be able to check in. All right. Now that's about the home. I'm gonna keep it going. I'm not gonna make this a long thing. I think every father needs to hear from another father exactly what they could do to change things. And sometimes we take it for granted that our family understands what we do. Oh no, remind them, just like you got to show what security looks like. What does security look like in the family unit? Well, I talk about this in the book, Father Notes, Being a Better Father on Purpose. And it's about boundaries, setting boundaries for your family. That's right. That means some people can't come over to the house. You got to make sure your family knows, your children know. No one can come in this house if the mother is not here and the father is not here. It's not safe because we don't know other people's children and they don't know our children. So we made it clear no one comes in the house. You got to keep them out. Now, did they experiment with that? Of course, they're children. I was a child. I know how it is. And of course, they got caught. Yes, they did, because my wife and I are a united front, and we knew our sons quite well. So we did catch them a few times with someone in the house that should not have been here. And we're lucky nothing bad happened. There was a couple of incidents, but we were able to manage it because we didn't let it go on too long. Oh yes, you and the mother has to be a united front when it comes to setting boundaries. Another thing about boundaries, your own family, your family, and the family of the mother. You have to protect, there that word is, protect your family from the other family. I know that seems harsh, but you have to make things different in your family so that the other side of the family understands we don't do things the way we used to do them when I was growing up with you. Oh no, things are done differently. And of course, things are done differently in their home. I just don't want that to enter into our home. So you have to set those boundaries and you have to make it clear. And you cannot be afraid of the family regime. You know how they say, we always was able to do what we want. No, not here. Things have changed. Now you can go back to doing what you were doing at their house, but not at this house. So boundaries are so important, especially against your family, the father's family, and the mother's family. They need to ask permission to come over. And when you say yes, they can come over, be sure you give them the boundaries. And if they don't like them, say the door is open. Bye-bye. Hey, let's keep it going. Those were the boundaries. Let's talk about, let's see. All right. What the security looks like. That's what I need. Security. Show what security looks like. We talked a little bit about that, but also that security is when your children, sons or daughters, want to go visit someone else's home. That's a level of security that scares a father because you don't know what's going on in their friend's home. You don't know what their parents are thinking. You don't even know if their parents are at home. And we had to work through that. That was my role as a father. Every place they wanted to go, I wanted to meet the parents of their friends. And my sons were very afraid that I was going to get to know the parents. And I had to do that. Did I get to know all of them? No, I didn't. My sons were very sneaky, but many of them I did get a chance to meet. And I let them know my son is coming over. They can only stay until a certain amount of time. And then I will be waiting outside for them to come out. Very important. And that's what security is, to make sure that they know wherever they go, I will be close by. There were times that I actually got in the car and rode behind my sons while they were on the bicycle going to a friend's house that I did not know about. Oh, yes, they did. And I followed them all the way to the front door. I didn't stop them. I just hung around a little bit. And then I gave them the call. What time are you coming home, son? Oh, no, never mind. I'm not asking. You need to be home by 7. And then I'd be waiting outside when they get on that bike and trying to get there by 7. They don't even see me. And I'm in the car riding right along. And then I'd get up to them at a red light or something like that, and I'd wave at them. Hi, son. Keep it going. All right. That's what it's all about when it comes to security. All right. Let's go to discipline. Discipline. That's a tough one now. That's a tough one. Show them what discipline looks like. First, I'll say no arguing between you and the mother. I am going to pause because some people believe that is not possible. But you know, my wife and I, we did not argue. There were times I think she wanted to, but I said, oh no, not in front of our sons. We will have our discussion a little bit later after they are in bed, sleeping soundly. But arguing in front of your children really breaks down the family unit. I'm telling you, it breaks down the family unit. And I don't think a mother and a father should do that in front of their children. How are they going to choose? Who's right? Who's wrong? Who is the blame? The children should not have to make those decisions in their minds. So, father, mother, be more responsible and have some discipline about yourself. Also, you have to manage your emotions. We know things happen. People get very emotional, but you have to manage your emotions and make sure you don't get triggered by the first thing someone says to you. And that was one of my strengths. Now, of course, in my workplace, I took a lot of classes about emotional intelligence. Not everybody does that, but I made sure I came home and I shared that information with my family, my wife, yes, and also my sons. How to manage your emotions, how to not be triggered when someone calls you out of your name. That is very important for your family. So when they get out into the real world, they don't react to the first thing that comes to them, the first words out of someone's mouth. And nowadays, oh my goodness, I hear it so much on social media. Y'all disrespecting me. Oh my goodness. You can earn respect, but there are some people you don't need respect from. You know, I got to pause for that. One more thing that we learn, I'm going to tell you a little bit of story when it comes to discipline. When my oldest son got into high school and he needed a calculator, you know, that Texas Instrument, oh, very expensive for that time, $125. Oh my goodness. And we bought it for him because he needed it, you know, to do well in school. Well, he went to school one day and someone stole it from him. And he did not want to tell us. Makes sense. He did not want to tell us. He just was going to look and look until he could find it. But then we were going to help him with his homework, and we discovered he did not have his Texas Instrument. You know, my wife lost it. And I didn't lose it, but I was getting close. But it was very expensive. So of course we said, you better find that calculator. And it should be easy to find because we put names everywhere on the devices that we bought for our sons. It's on the cover, it's on the back, it's on the inside where the batteries are. You can find that calculator. But we did not give specifics on what he should do when he finds the calculator. Well, he found out who stole it and who sold it. And he put the smack down. He turned into the rock. Can you smell what the rock is cooking? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He layeth the smack down. And he got in a little bit of trouble. But that was a lesson, not just for him. That was a lesson for us as parents. We have to be clear about the direction we give our children. We told him to go find that calculator, and we didn't say what not to do. So that was a lesson for me and my wife. He learned a lesson, of course, because he had to do some special things to make up for that. But he did find that calculator. So I tell you, but that's a lesson learned, not just for the children, but also for us as parents. All right, that was discipline. We got one more. Now I'm gonna have to kind of go slow on this right here. Show what love looks like in the home. Show what love looks like in the home. So in order to do that, I'm going to tell you, fathers can be nurturers. I had to look it up for you in the Bible, and Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and the instruction of the Lord. I'm telling you, sometimes we don't understand what we read, but if you really break it down, you can do it. As a father, you can be a nurturer. You can be there at the most critical times when they need not just the mother, but the father. And every time something happens to your children, the mother is not always around. That's where the father has to bring in the nurturing abilities. And it takes practice. And if you weren't shown the nurturing abilities, find someone to talk to and learn how to be a nurturer. You can do it. Or you can watch and observe how a mother nurtures, but don't lose your manhood in the process, because we can't do it just like mothers. We can't do it like women. We have to do it a little bit different. Now, I got this list over here on the other side that I want to make sure. Maybe it's over there. I don't know. But I got this list of nurturing. So you have to be emotionally available. It means you have to show a little emotion. And my sons did see me cry. I am not ashamed for crying. I was brought up, men don't cry, boys don't cry. This one does. Because I think you should shake the trees of tradition. That's the purpose of me coming up with that slogan. You see it on my ticker. Shake the trees of tradition, because so many times tradition will cripple you in ways that you cannot get out and be better. Another thing, you have to be actively engaged in your son's life, whatever they're involved in. Amazing how our son was in the band. I tried to make sure my wife and I was at every activity as much as we could. And this was before cell phones. We was taking cameras in the dark with a Polaroid camera. The flash didn't go but about 3 feet away. So those pictures are very blurry, but we were there. Also, my second son, I asked him to just learn how to play guitar. He didn't want to, but I said, just do it for me. It may be something you could learn. And then we sent him to the class, and he took the classes, and then come to find out of about 8 people in the class, when they was getting ready to graduate, they had to give a little program and how well they were playing. And then we walk in, we see our son playing solos. I'm like, where did this come from? We did not know. And he did a wonderful job. We have pictures. We're going to have to go back to the photo albums to find them. But I tell you, it was amazing that he was able to play and play well. Now, did he pick up that guitar after class? No, he didn't. Son number 3. I was working in the backyard, and he was supposed to be back home by 6. And he was the only one that did not follow the rules. He did not know I was in the backyard working. I was up close to the house. Then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see this streak. He ran behind me so quick and he was going so fast, he didn't even see me. Went through the gate, tried to go in the house like he had already been there. I walked in the back door. Hello, son. Where you been? Oh, I've been here. I've been here. No, so no. But I wasn't really mad. I was amazed at his speed. I was like, that was quick. So I got all my sons. We went outside and we were in a cove and we were going to do some racing. I wanted to see for myself how fast he really was. And I was going to join in and run too. I think I'm pretty good too. So we all lined up at the top of the cove and we were going to race to the bottom of the cove. That young man smoked us. So I asked him to join the track team at his high school. He did not want to, but I said, just do it for me. 1 season. Just do 1 season. He actually went to the state and won an award. Barely practiced, just that natural ability. And I'll explain at the end what I'm talking about when it comes about nurturing. Son number 4. He is an artist. He can draw. He does amazing things with a pen, some paint, and now with the computer. And he's doing some work for me that I'm going to put in one of my books. You can't see right now, though. I'm going to surprise the world with my 4th son's magic. I tell you, it is beautiful. And he did go to school for it, but he did not finish. But the teachers, his instructors at the college said, he's got a real talent. He does not do well in school, but he is a different kind of talent. You need to keep working with him. So that's what I'm doing. All these years later, working with him and his talent. That's 4 sons. One more. Son number 5. This is the athlete that played basketball and ran track. Well, it was on the track team, I'll say, because he didn't really run. And I tell you, I wanted him to play basketball because I played basketball in high school. Now, I didn't ask him to play. He wanted to play. I was a crazy parent, almost tried to get him not to, but he wanted to. So I was very supportive. And he was doing well, still learning, still young, But on the side, he was actually working on high jump. And we did not know. He had actually gone out for the track team. We did not know. And instead of saying, you can't do that, we said, okay, as long as you keep your grades, you can do that. And the coaches understood that he was a 2-sport athlete. And I like to do homework. I wanted him to be better at at high jump, but I didn't want to be a pushy parent. But he was doing homework. I mentioned to him about doing homework. He said, Father, I've already been to YouTube and I know all the techniques. I was like, oh, wow. So I got on board and I said, you can be a very good high jump. And he became state champion. Oh my goodness. I was there because I was actively engaged, for sure. Now, I tell y'all those stories because that's what active engagement feels like. During that time, for each one of them, there were highs and lows, and we have to be there for the highs and the lows. They weren't always successful, and we had to be there to hug them, love them, and let them know it's okay. It's not the end of your journey. You have a long way to go. So you have to be actively engaged and show the emotions right along with them. You got to be positive as much as you can so that they can be continuously better for themselves, not better than other people, just better for themselves. You also have to have an empathetic connection with your children. Empathetic. You got to feel it. Now, I played basketball, so I felt when my son would lose. I was a musician, so I could feel when my son felt like he couldn't read those notes. So all of those things, you got to make sure you feel with them. Now, I know some parents do the old school way. Well, you need to get tough. You too weak. You need to get rowdy with it. Nice. There's a place for that. But that's not always the best way to go. Everybody's not going to be mean and tough. But you can be strong, mentally and physically strong. And then the involvement of both parents is so crucial when it comes to nurturing. The involvement of both parents, that is seriously the key. Like I said, the mother and the father have to be a united front. That's when children have the perfect balance to be the best that they can be. I just wanted to share that with you. A father's protection goes a long way in raising powerful children, both sons and daughters. And you have to be intentional about a father's protection. There's so much more to it. And you have to really explain to your family on a regular basis why you're doing what you're doing. It's all about protection. It's all about love. It's all about discipline. All of those things work together. Yes, they do. I wanted to share this on the Father Notes podcast. You can get a little bit of this in my book, Father Notes, Being a Better Father on Purpose. Of course, you have to order it from warrenwpattenjr.com. And I just appreciate your attention. Please share, like, and subscribe on my YouTube channel, because this is where the Father Notes podcast will live. But it's also available on other platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast. Yes, it is. iHeartRadio. It's everywhere. But all you got to do is follow me at Warren W. Patten Jr. at just about every platform possible that I can get it on. So I'm just trying to put it out there for fathers. I'm not giving up. We're going to get fathers back involved in the family structure, taking their rightful place as the patriarch. And we're going to change this world. We're going to change this world, people. I appreciate you joining. Thank you so much. Don't forget Ephesians 6:4. That's where fathers can protect their children. Father Patten, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for joining the Father Notes podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Warren W. Patten Jr. That's Patten Jr. Follow our socials on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Father, make the choice to use your voice